We are on day 13 of our learning Japanese using AI. And I feel like this is the most consistent I've ever been on my own while learning Japanese. So this is a really, really good thing. Once you get to around the middle of the challenge, it's like I'm actually being consistent, with something I tried to be consistent with after I got back to California from language school. I wanted to keep up with my studies and improve with Japanese and everything because, you kind of spent a lot of time invested in learning the language. But getting back home, it was very, very difficult to actually create that routine of studying Japanese. So I'm really, really glad that this whole 30-day challenge of me trying to use AI to study and everything, it has been going really well. If anything, even if the AI part isn't amazing, it's still resulted in this, which is really, really good. Anyways, that was just a quick aside because I just felt like this is a new sort of phase or a new feel for me that I'm actually consistently studying Japanese on my own. Even when I was in Japan in Japanese language school, I hardly ever studied on my own. I spoke to a lot of native speakers, that was my studying, I guess, but I never actually just sat down, had a resource or a book and really studied. So this is a really, really good step. All right, so with that said, we can actually go ahead and get this thing started. So today's kanji, why don't we actually start off with grammar? I feel like starting off things just a little bit differently compared to the previous one. But for grammar, we're gonna use bunpro like we have been, and we'll start off with nikui. And I kind of want to know where a specific grammar point is because I feel like I still have trouble understanding it when I don't see it. It's yoni, and I still feel like I have trouble understanding it sometimes. I think it's because there's a lot of different ways to use it. Okay, yoni naru. Because I was listening to Nihongo Kon Teppei, which is actually the podcast that ChatGPT recommended, the first one. I'm on lesson around 80, lesson 80. Each one is about 3 minutes. So if we were to just do some simple math, that's 240 minutes. And 240 minutes, this is day 13. So let's just say day 12. 240 minutes divided by 12 is 20. So we have 20 minutes each day of listening so far, which is pretty good. I think that's right about where I should be at. So that's been consistent, even though that's been completely off camera. And I just did all that math right now, so I didn't know whether or not I was being consistent enough, but it seems that I have been, which is good. All right, let's see here. But actually, thinking about it now, there was that break in between, and I was listening to it as well during that break, so I kind of had added minutes, listening minutes, so maybe it's not as consistent as it needs to be, but so far it's okay, it's fine. Okay, but it looks like the yoni stuff is going to be later in the N4 stuff, so I won't jump the gun, and I'll just keep going with this list in order. That's a lot of grammar points, but yeah, still N4 lesson 1, and we're doing nikui today. We have the explanation. Like yasui, nikoi is an e adjective that is regularly attached to the mas stem of verbs. However, instead of meaning easy to, it means difficult to. Okay, let's go ahead and do some reading. この駐車場は狭いから止めにくい. That's the first time I've ever encountered parking lot. And semai is a word I know, but I don't know its kanji. And then 止めにくい, I know tomaru and tomeru, so that's how the kanji looks like. Okay. I don't know, I'm focusing on kanji or I'm looking at the kanji even though I'm supposed to be focusing on the grammar point. So I have to pay attention to that and not accidentally focus on the wrong thing, I guess. Okay, I'll set a timer. 今日は具合が悪いから呼吸がしにくい. It's hard to breathe. Okay. 今日は具合が悪いから呼吸がしにくい. The nuance of nikui is that A is a task that is difficult to do because of the required skill level or similar factors. This is different from zurai, which focuses more on a task that is difficult due to being unbearable, hard to endure for some reason. This is what I love about Broom Pro. Like, it's great at explaining these nuances. Zurai is something that I hear sometimes from my native speaker, my native source, sorry, my native speaker. But it's good to understand when to use which one because they do have similar meanings. So nikui is like related to skill level, while zurai is related to something being unbearable or hard to endure. 私、英語の literally という what is that? 単語がとても言いにくい。単語 term. Okay. I should add the kanji. I don't have this in my head yet. Okay. For me, the English word literally is very hard to say. 私には英語の literally literally という単語がとても言いにくい。I'm trying to also make sure I understand the sentence structure. So 私には is obviously for me, and then 英語の literally という is like its own sort of clause right there. 英語の literally という単語. So it's like the clause that describes 単語, which is the term. So it's like English's literally term is hard to say. Yeah, okay. Sometimes while I'm reading it, sometimes in the middle of reading it, I can't figure out the structure of the sentence very well. I have to like do it after I finish reading it, which is it's kind of built into Japanese. It's a language that's sort of like that, according to my native source. You have to like wait for the person to finish talking before you fully understand what the meaning is, versus English. Like if someone gets cut off, I think you can still understand what they wanted to say. So that's one thing that's like very difficult about Japanese, that my native source has mentioned. But I think for here, I should still be able to understand that that's what this clause is doing to tango, like in the middle of reading it. So I think that's more of me not being able to do it properly yet because of my lack of skill. Let's keep going. お前には言う、本当に言いづらいけど、お前のギターを壊した。ごめん。壊した like break? Okay, this is very difficult for me to say to you, but I broke your guitar. Hard because the speaker knows that telling the listener will cause a negative response. So they're not using nikui in this one, they're using zurai. And it doesn't have to do with skill, it has more so to do with the resistance, the unbearability. お前には本当に言いづらいけど. So zurai works in the same way as nikui, apparently. Interesting. けど、お前のギターを壊した. I can't help but say 壊しちゃった because that's like the casual version of saying 壊してしまった. ごめん. An easy way to remember the difference in nuance between nikui and zurai is that nikui comes from the same kanji as muzikashi, which usually carries the meaning of difficulty. Okay, all right. Let's listen to some examples. I believe I actually ended up not paying attention to whether or not the stream could hear it well, but I'm not streaming right now, primarily because at some point I decided, like, it was kind of today that I decided where I was like, I feel like the efficiency of streaming doesn't outweigh my desire to like make these videos a bit more watchable, so I will just put this through the Premiere Pro and cut out the silences to make it easier to digest and watch. It doesn't take too much time.
甘くないケーキは食べにくい。
甘くないケーキは食べにくい。甘くないケーキは食べにくい。
甘くないケーキは食べにくい。
甘くないケーキは食べにくい。
アフリカです。
アフリカには行きにくいです。Sometimes I have trouble reading katakana fast. アフリカには
行きにくいです。
I feel like I always just want to say the English word when I'm saying katakana that is related to English words I know. It's like the hardest thing ever to get right. But yeah, I'm just gonna skip this. One day, I'll work on it. But right now, it's so much easier for me to just say Africa ni wa ikinikui desu. Okay.
しにくいです。
怖いことはしにくいです。しにくいです。
怖いことはしにくいです。
怖いことはしにくいです。
あの人とは話しにくいです。
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 So this person kind of talks a little fast, but that's kind of how Japanese people speak sometimes, so it's best to get used to it. Okay. あの人とは
話しにくいです。
あの人とは話しにくいです。このコップ、形が変だから読みにくい。このコップだから飲みにくい。Because this cup has a strange shape. Katachi means shape, okay. And there's hen, the kanji we learned yesterday. And nomimasu is something we learned in Japanese language school as well. Alright, nice. I feel like I understand nikui a lot better. Let's keep going. I think we can definitely do more than one. Okay, dandan. This is something I learned in language school already, but we can just go over it quickly. Dandan is an adverb that is used to express the slight but constant progression of something. Originally, it comes from the kanji construction dandan, which can be thought of as meaning step by step, similar to hotondo, in that it can modify the meaning of the entire phrases rather than just single words. Modify the meaning of entire phrases rather than just single words. Okay, I think I understand. To use dandan, simply put it before the phrase you want to express as a that is increasing steadily. Okay. 12月になってから from the time it becomes December だんだん寒くなってきた Since December it has gotten colder steadily 12月になってからだんだん寒くなってきた Okay, next one だんだん仕事の環境に慣れてきた I have steadily gotten used to work's environment. So 環境 must be environment, and then 慣れてきた nareteru is getting used to, so that's how the kanji looks like. Okay. だんだん仕事の環境に慣れてきた While だんだん can take the particle to, it is not required. In fact, to is very often omitted from adverbs and onomatopoeic words. Interesting. Words that represent a sound or motion. Oh yeah. There's a lot of those words. I say it all the time with my native source, okay, in Japanese. 最近はだんだんと暑くなってき So it's not required to. It's not required to, I guess. Don't really need to think about it. Okay. Caution. Initially, it can be easy to mix up dandan with dondon. Dondon is an onomatopoeic word. Onomatopoeic. How do you say that properly? It's fine. Word that represents loud banging, like on a drum. It's used to express fast changes. This is unlike dandan, which expresses slower changes, progressions. Okay. I don't think I would have mixed it up. They seem pretty different in my head. Dandan ame ga futte kita. Seems like all these examples include the te kita, as in like it's coming, I think. Okay. We should know ame. I don't really know that one very well, so I'll leave it like that, but we should know ame. Dondon ame ga futte kita. It is starting to rain. Rapid progression may imply great speed or severity. Oh, wow, interesting. So dondon means like it's coming fast. Okay, there's no audio example for this one, I guess. Senpai ga kohai ni hanashite ru. 大丈夫。だんだん上手になるよ。友達 We should know 友達。友達が話してる。秋になったからこれからだんだん寒くなるよ。寒くなるよね。秋になったからこれからだんだん寒くなるよね。秋になったからこれからだんだん寒くなるよね。It's kind of like a lot to say at once, okay? 秋になったからこれからだんだん寒くなるよね。Alright, that's a bit better. Let's keep going. Feel like at this point we should be able to read 英語。英語の教師が生徒の親と話してる。English teacher talking with a student's parents. Okay. 教師、娘さんはだんだん英語が上手くなってきました。
英語の教師。 娘さんはだんだんいました。
娘さんはだんだん英語が上手くなってきました。My question is like, when do we include きました like that? Like てきました。Is that like a grammar? That must be like a previous grammar point at some point. てきた。Teki, which means enemy. Let's see. Doesn't seem like there's anything like that though. That's unfortunate. This is when we ask ChatGPT to break down the sentence. Grammar. Can you help me break down this sentence? All right, right here. Natte, and then to become, and then kimashita, the past tense of kuru, which literally means to come. But in this context means that a change has started to happen and continues into the present. All right, so that's the nuance. So natte kimashita means has started becoming, has been getting. Okay, that's good. Good to know. Let's see if we can infer based on that explanation. So, だんだん雨が降ってきた. It is starting to rain slowly. Okay, the starting part. I guess since this has like a time frame, it's okay. Like it's getting there, it's like a progression. Okay, so that's what the addition of tekita means. Okay, let's move on. I think it's about time actually that we end grammar. But we will just finish off these examples and then move on. So, 友達が話してる。だんだんとあのやつの字が綺麗になってきていて、今は避けるようにしてる。I don't know what that means. Let's see. I gradually came to dislike that guy, and now I do my best to avoid him. Interesting. だんだんとあのやつのこと。Yes, that makes way more sense. あのやつのことが嫌いになってきてる。きていて。I need a breakdown of the sentence. 今は避けるようにしてる。Okay, so ようにしてる。Do my best to do something. To put a lot of effort into. This is the yoni that we understand at this moment. All right, let's have ChatGPT break down the sentence. So ChatGPT is being useful for this whole grammar section, which is really good. And it's primarily because of my lack of understanding of these more complex sentences. I am enjoying reading and trying to understand. It's mainly this right here that I don't like understand. Natte kitte ite. Have been starting to dislike. Kirai ni natte kita. Apparently ChatGPT says that we can simplify the sentence to just say that would be enough to express that you're gradually disliking a person. It's a bit redundant to use te since the kita already expresses the ongoing change. If we attach te ite to, does it have the same meaning as te kita? Okay, so te kita is has been or has come to. Te ite is doing, continuous state. Definitely need an example. 彼は今本を読んでいて. Is it just the and form of ている? Okay, yes. So they're saying it's closely related. So ている is present continuous or state of being, which is essentially the same definition as before. We understand ている in that sense. And ていて continuous action in a broader context. ていて is simply the ている form in the て form. When we use ていて, it's often to connect it with another clause or action. Okay, that helps me clarify things a lot. And having this combination is apparently considered redundant. So, not sure, if Boonpro just didn't create a great sentence here, or if this is a naturally said sentence. I think I have to address and ask my native source for this one. Alright, moving on. お母さんが子供と話してる。あなたはだんだんお菓子を食べたくなる。食べたくなくなる。Okay, so 食べたくなく. So that means like don't want to eat, right? Okay. That's a hard one to read. Understanding it makes sense. 食べたくなくなる。食べたくない。食べたくない。食べたい。食べたくない。食べたくなくなる. Wow, interesting. Okay, that's the first time I've ever said that in my life. Okay, so you'll gradually lose interest in sweets. Okay. だんだんお菓子を 食べたくなくなる. Okay.
お母さんが子供と話している。あなたはだんだんお菓子を食べ
Nice. There's actually a preference to use slow playback. Wonder how it would sound like that.
お母さんが話している。あなたはだんだんお菓子を
It is definitely slower, but maybe a little unnaturally slow. So I'll just get used to the fast version.
お母さんが話している。あなたはだんだんお菓子を食べたくなくなる。
Alright. I didn't even know that was there. Okay. That's enough for today. We are going into the time for kanji and other things. But that's okay. I feel like we learned a good amount just now. I have to do this properly. Show me where N4 is. Okay. So we just did dan. Let's make sure we do don next. Interesting. We've never done that one, so that should be fun. So 2 a day is not that much, to be honest. But 2 a day means we'd probably finish this in a long time. It would take a long time to finish this, but that's fine. It's more than nothing. But I'm kind of curious. Like, let's do just a quick count. So 3, so 6, 18. And it's about the same for, so far it's about the same for all of them. So we can just multiply by the lessons in one of them. So 10 lessons. So 180 divided by 2 is 90. So it would take 90 days to get through all of N4's grammar if you're doing 2 at a time. And let's see if it's the same for N3. It looks like it's a little bit more in each lesson for this one. Yeah, significantly more actually. So just doing a quick count, that I count 22. So each lesson has around 22 or 21. Let's just average it out to be 21. No, 22 should be 22. So let's see. Is it also 10 lessons? Yes, also 10 lessons. So if it averages out to 22, then that means it would probably take around 200 something days. I mean, 200 different ones. So it would take around 100 days to finish this N2? N3. Yeah, 200 days to finish N3 if we're doing 100 days, sorry. 100 days to finish N3 if we were to do 2 at a time each day. And just to finish this off, seems to have a similar amount to N3. Yeah, there's so much, my goodness. My guess is that it would be around 100 days if you do 2 at a time for each of them. So if you wanted to get through all of them at this pace, it would be around 500 days total. But I am kind of guesstimating here. I'm guesstimating a lot with the numbers, and I'm also assuming that you're spending around 30 minutes or so on grammar to do 2 of them, like 15 minutes each. It's probably possible to do it faster, but I feel like you're not going to internalize it as much if you do it too fast. It's probably possible to do 3 of them if you're like very efficient about it. I'm kind of being a little slow, but doing an extra one increases the rate by like a lot because you're doing it every single day, so it's like a multiplicative factor. But assuming you're just doing 2 a day, it would take around 100 days because there's about 200 in one set. So if you divide that by 3, you would get somewhere around 70 days instead of 100 days. So you save a month. It depends on how much time you have. But based on my calculations, since I'm at N4 and there's 4 sets left of 200 something grammar points in each one, then that would take me about 400 days to get through all of these. Yeah, that's a long time, but I kind of feel like I will eventually get there. If I just study 30 minutes a day, I think once I reach a certain point where my kanji, I feel like I've learned a lot of the basic kanji, then I'll primarily be focused on grammar and vocab. But I mean, vocab is included in kanji, so it's I don't know. Personally, for me, I find grammar to be the most fun thing to learn. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna do too many long-term strategies because I feel like that's a formula for failure. Just keep going for now and don't see how vast the ocean is. Just keep sailing forward and we will eventually reach our destination, is the way I see it right now. Okay. For me, I'm not in a huge rush for anything to learn all the grammar. So it's not a huge deal. I do want to get to around N2 level sooner than later though, but let's do kanji. All right, so let's try to learn more kanji from basically my conversations with native speakers, my text conversations, so then I don't have to read anymore, or I don't have to use translations anymore while I'm reading. All right, so we have a breakdown of this one, which comes from Yasashi. It's something I see quite frequently, but this seems a little not broken down very well. So let's do our usual thing and go to Wanikani, and they don't have it. So we will simply start a new chat, or not a new chat, a search. Why does it say superior? Alternative gentle. That's very interesting that superior and gentle mean the same thing or have the same kanji, but definitely a lot more broken down here. We know hyaku, the 100, and then there's forehead. Don't really remember what this means, but that's fine. There's heart, and then there's winter. All right. All kanji all radicals that we basically know. So let's go ahead and finally get this thing started. My phone has just been on the camera for a while. All right, so person radical, 100. Crap, I think I wrote too small. And then the forehead or lid, the heart, and then winter radical. And that somehow means yasashi. This says ureru. This part is the phonetic and semantic component. It consists of, yeah, it does actually break it down a bit, but I think the first one is incorrect. Contributes to the meaning of emotions at the heart of elements of emotion are involved. Together they create association with the person's kindness, gentleness, or superior qualities. Okay, so apparently this character can be on its own and mean this right here. So let's see if we can find it in Wanikani. It means grief, apparently. I find it so interesting that like a kanji that means grief, but you add the person radical next to it and it means kind. Okay, well that's good to know that, you know, the kanji by itself means something, or the radical by itself is a kanji that means something. That means grief. Wow, okay. Let's practice this a little bit more. 100 with the lid, with heart, with winter, and then the person radical. And that's yasashi, or the kanji that will form yasashi as long as I add shi. Okay, that's good enough for me. And then let's do another one. This one's a little bit, let's just do a fun one. Kanji. I'm gonna do the kanji of kanji. Again, this one's wrong. Sanzui, the water radical. It has the water radical, the grass radical, and then a box. Let's get a breakdown. Oh, so this kanji means Chinese. That makes a whole lot of sense. It's in Muzukashi as well. Interesting. There's no radical breakdown that I can see, even though I know that that's the grass radical on top. I'm sure there's something that can do this, but it'd be nice to be able to like write something and then have it form the character for me, so then I can search it. Because there's no way for me to like remove the top part unless I did a screenshot of this thing. Oh, unless I did a partial screenshot of this thing and try to copy it like this. It doesn't seem like it'll allow me to. Yeah, we tried. It's okay. We'll just remember that it has this weird thingy on the right side under the grass radical. Or maybe we can ask ChatGPT, can you break down the radicals for this character? Yeah, I don't know if that's true, that it's like similar to the shell radical, because it doesn't really look that similar to me. But yeah, let's not worry about it too much. Let's just practice writing it. So grass radical, a boxy type thingy like that, I think. Is there a line in there in that box? Yes, there is. Excellent. I think we did pretty well. So this one, including the tsunami radical or the water radical, makes Chinese. And then the other one is that, I believe. G letter, yes. Which is the dotted lid, or they call it roof, with child. Outer space, that's cool. There's a kanji for outer space. It's very simple too. All right, moji, the thing I got a B in for Japanese language school. Everything else I got an S, which is like the highest you can get. But moji was a B, which is why I'm working on kanji right now. Okay, that's about it, I guess, for this one. So that is kanji. now I know and understand how to write it. It's Chinese and ji. Does that mean for like, let's say something like chu gokugo? Not quite. It doesn't have that character. What else uses the Chinese thing then? Kanji and jikan. Groper. What does that even mean? Wow. I'm not even gonna get into this. All right, let's see. G. Let's move on. Okay, there's actually one more kanji that I want to do, and it is of kanji again. But this time, this is a different type of kanji. When I first heard it, I was very confused, but like eventually you just hear it enough and it makes sense to you that kanji also means feeling, but it's a different one. So let's just get a breakdown real quick. All right, kan, main phonetic component. That is cool. It looks cool. Gonna be hard to remember though. And let's also do wanikani. Feeling. And it seems that they break it down a bit more. So this means, or this is the drunkard radical apparently. Slide. Where is the slide in this? Like here? Wouldn't that technically be cliff? It appears in a good amount of kanji actually, so best to understand how to recognize this radical. Drunkard radical. What does ChatGPT have to say about that? Hoko is a relatively rare radical and character in modern Japanese, but it is still appears in some compounds, refers to as halberd or spear. That's cool. I like that explanation way better than drunkard. And they have it here too, senso, in war. All right, halberd, huh? Creeper. This one doesn't seem to be too prevalent in many kanji, so I think I don't really need to... There's no way to copy it either, so... Director, huh? Yeah, director looks very similar to this one, which is the one for onaji, I think. Yeah. Anyways, that goes in the middle somewhere, and then we have heart, which we know. All right, let's do some practice. The halberd one, creeper one, the heart one, and that is feeling. Let's see, found in, this is the one I want, kanji, feeling. Yes, kono kanji, sono kanji. All right, I think I'm pretty satisfied with what we just did. This was definitely a lighter kanji day, but we learned the kanji for kanji, and we learned the kanji for the other kanji, and then we also learned it for yasashi. So like 3 kanji seems to be a good number for me because we're basically learning other kanji as well, like the halberd radical. I guess it's technically not a kanji in itself, but yeah, I don't know. We're just learning a lot of extra parts, I guess. Not as much today compared to like kire, for instance, but this was still a good amount, I feel. I am satisfied. All right, so let's just close things off, or we can go to the big camera. So basically, I think from here, we'll only stream episodes, or not episodes, but stream days where we have like a bit more of a plan, maybe more interaction with ChatGPT, maybe more special days. I think the practice days we'll just keep as videos, make them very simple, and have Premiere Pro edit it like super fast for me. So that will be the plan for now. It's also easier for me to do this off stream, honestly, because sometimes I need the restroom and I feel like compelled not to use the restroom when I'm streaming, even though it doesn't really matter too much. But I also feel like less pressure at the same time, because I'm like, I wonder if the stream is doing okay. Like, I wonder if the sound is okay and all that stuff, and I wonder if like maybe someone might have commented at some point or made something like that. So it kind of does disturb my focus just a little bit. So for normal study days, I do think that doing it off stream makes the most sense, based on my experience so far. I am sort of like changing when you gather new information, when you get new information, you kind of want to make decisions based on that new information. And I do feel like back then when I was like, okay, yes, let's just stream it because it's the most efficient. We don't have to touch it in terms of editing. But I do think ultimately, thinking about it with the new information, it does feel better to study off of stream and then to just like condense this by cutting out the spaces and silences for the viewing experience in case people actually do want to watch these. It's more so just like a log or like a practice log for me. It's sort of like acting as proof that I did do the practice, because after I do finish 30 days, I'll create like a main video that highlights my whole experience. And I think it would be cool to be like, okay, you guys can actually check out literally the entire experience if you wanted to. So yeah, but I also am thinking like it would be a good idea to plan out some special days and make them more interesting. I think like a good rhythm of 3 practice days and then 1 like special day where I do stream it and do something more interesting that involves AI or ChatGPT. I mean, that's the only AI we're using, but maybe there's more out there. Maybe we can do a little bit more research, have a little bit more fun on those special days, I guess, instead of just basic studying. Is sort of the feel right now. We'll see. But that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.